Talking Loud Keys. Yeah. Talking Loud Keys. Yeah. Alright guys, so we have a new motion that was filed by the lawyers for R. Kelly. There was a report last night, a tweet. Shout out to You Digging Me and Ebony Purple Nicks for this information. They had informed me last night while I was doing a actually it was in the wee hours in the morning. I did a live stream. So it says Justin R. Kelly has renewed his motion for release from federal jail in Chicago, citing new information that has as many as 6 inmates and 7 staff members who have tested positive for COVID-19. Kelly's lawyers are saying that the singer is under stress with inmates banging on cell doors, begging for help. So with that being said, we're hoping that just make sure I see this correctly. You know, hopefully he gets released. This is real serious. This is real serious to have a bunch of inmates incarcerated in a prison where you have a disease flowing through. There's nowhere to run. When you get it, you get it. There's nowhere to run. There's nowhere to go to. You can't just go to the doctors on your own. You have to wait until they have time to do this. And at this rate, the way this disease is flying through these states in the United States, just in our country alone, not to mention the mass countries throughout the world that this disease is flying through. A prison, it's going to be like nothing for this disease to go through this prison and infect these inmates. So R. Kelly's lawyers had filed the motion. We're waiting for the information to come back. This is the second motion that they have filed with New York. Now I'm going to actually get ready and pull up this actual document for us. I just want to real quick read the beginning of this to you. It's to judge. It was dated for yesterday, April 16th. It says, "Dear Judge Donnelly, we respectfully submit this letter as Mr. Kelly's renewed emergency motion for release based upon changed circumstances. As this court will recall, at the time of the filing and briefing, Mr. Kelly, his prior emergency motion for release, both the MCC Chicago and the government took the position that there were no known positive cases of COVID-19 within the inmate population at that institution. As foreshadowed in that prior motion, things at the MCC Chicago have since changed dramatically. That this change has occurred is no surprise. It was reasonably foreseeable, and quite frankly, should have been expected. The Chicago MCC now admits that as of yesterday, there are at least 6 known and confirmed positive cases of COVID-19 amongst the population where Mr. Kelly is being detained. There are likely already many more positive cases in light of the fact that, to date, the Chicago MCC has not even engaged in any systematic testing of its detainees, unless and until they have exhibited symptoms of the virus, despite the well-known close and crowded conditions at that facility. That there are likely many more cases of COVID-19 amongst the Chicago MCC's detainee population is corroborated by the fact that these detainees who have already tested positive were apparently housed in 3 different levels of the MCC. In addition, as reported by the Federal Defender's Office in Chicago, one of the positive COVID-19 cases or detainees is in a precocious health situation. Example, apparently in danger of death. This updated disclosure by the Chicago MCC regarding the 6 infected inmates is in addition to the 7 staff members at the site who have also already tested positive for this highly contagious and deadly virus. As this court will recall, during the briefing of Mr. Kelly's prior motion for release, the Chicago MCC was then reporting that only one of the jail's staff had tested positive for the COVID-19. In any event, according to the figures provided by the BOP, as of April 15, 2020, there are now more than 500 COVID-19 positive inmates, 298 positive staff, and 17 deaths. These numbers, which are illustrated by the graph below, are not getting any lower and will only continue to spiral. Based on all the information above, that Mr. Kelly will be infected with this deadly disease is now, unfortunately, an absolutely probability. Counsel for Mr. Kelly has also learned that the detainee population at MCC, including but not limited to Mr. Kelly, is experiencing tremendous stress and anxiety in the light of recent COVID-19 developments. Inmates are reportedly banging on doors, walls, and windows, begging for help. The only thing the MCC has done is lock things down, making conditions feel more like solitary confinement, and possibly because of the nature of this virus, locking in healthy inmates with those who already have the virus, but who may not yet be symptomatic. The virus has now more than hit home at the MCC Chicago. So this goes on. This letter, I will include the full letter. It's 5 pages. I will include this full letter at the end of this video, so you guys can actually see it, visualize it yourself. This is crazy. This is a shame, you know. And this is coming from Michael Leonard's office. Let's see, Michael L. Leonard. So this is the documentation right here. Just throw it here on the camera for you guys. Yeah, I'll put that up. So guys, pray this man comes home. There's no reason. He has not been found guilty on any charges at all. If you really thoroughly look at the facts and the people involved in this case, you'll find out that there's a lot of false narratives being put out there. There's a lot of false information being put out there. A lot of people are lying. A lot of people are lying for monetary gain in this situation. So I'm going to put this letter up so you guys can read the motion for yourselves. And keep praying for R. Kelly as well as other inmates too. There's a lot of inmates that need to come home too as well. This is sickening. This whole thing is sickening. As it is right now in America, we have more people incarcerated than any other country. Like, it's sickening. A lot of inmates are incarcerated, and they shouldn't be. There's a lot of other inmates in jail, just like R. Kelly, who have not been proven guilty on anything, and they're just waiting for trial. Those people need to come home. And if you don't trust them at home, put them on house arrest. It's real easy. We have to curb this disease. Like, oh my goodness. Just pray for any inmate that's in jail. R. Kelly too. Pray for all the inmates that are in jail and they can't come home. And especially, there's inmates in there that don't have lawyers that can actually file motions for them to come home. And they're not guilty of anything. This is fucking retarded. This is retarded to me. How is it that inmates have not been found guilty? There's no proof yet that he's been guilty. There's no proof that he has been found guilty on anything. There's just a fucking indictment of evidence gathered by the prosecution. Not full evidence either. Like, just part evidence. You know, you don't get the full view on things until you get evidence from both sides, the defense as well as the prosecution. So people, please pray. Pray, have faith that this all works out, that R. Kelly comes home. Alright guys, till next video. Talking Loud with Keish. Yeah. Talking Loud with Keish. Yeah. Talking Loud with Keish. Yeah.